What's going on YouTube? Dave back again, and guess what? Today we're taking a look at the cockpit and tunnel of the Pefect Grade Millennium Falcon. This is going to be part one of the build that I end up doing, and I'm kind of excited to show this to you. There's some pluses and there's some minuses. I actually sat for a couple days debating on how I was going to end up doing this and not just saying and building the whole thing and doing a general review. I think we kind of looked at this before, but this is the control box and it's kind of dumb how it ends up working. So you have a couple of extra ports on here, and I haven't tested whether they end up working or not. They should, if you want to add your additional lighting things. So the way this ends up working is you flip this switch on and it activates these. Okay, so one is supposed to be for the front landing lights and the back landing lights. Then things get plugged into each one of these, and you have to switch on. This switch does nothing. I haven't found that it does anything. So you switch it on. Actually, it doesn't matter if you switch this one on or not. Only controls these. These two switches control all four of these. This one will go all the way up to the cockpit, engines, and a couple other things. It's very funky how they ended up doing this. And I can tell you right now, just messing with this, we are going to end up modifying this and changing some lighting around. So as you can see, I have the bigger pieces laid out. There are a bunch of little pieces which I will end up adding on, and then we'll do a quick overview before I wrap up this video. But I wanted to show you the meat of this. This little slot right here, I actually had to cut out because it was like completely filled in. I don't know what happened with the mold on that. I was like, why isn't this piece going to fit in? Now, the second issue that I have is this whole thing is clear plastic. And I understand that they were wanting to do it so that the light that hits this would transfer. The problem is the lighting only hits these sections right here. It hits the back panel of this, but hits these and only really lights up this section right here. And my other biggest issue with it was they're expecting you to just put a water slide over this. You're going to get bleed through with that anyway. So we're going to end up painting this down. I'm going to show you how to basically almost scrape off the sections that you want to be like different colors, and then we're going to add some Tamiya clear to that to give it the lighting effect. We're also going to end up cutting out this whole back panel back here so that you can get light transfer. Let me just show you real quick what we're talking about. So for right here is going to be one side of the cockpit itself, and as you can see, there are a lot of details, and I don't know if I have room, but I'm going to try and put some optics just for some odd cables in here or lighting, because it just looks plain, and even when you paint it and everything, it's going to look too dark in there. So that's going to be kind of what I want to do. So we're just going to put those sections together. You have your pilots. I don't think I'm going to include the pilots in here because they kind of look derp. Like what is that, Bandai? Like what is that really? So this section up here is a little fiddly, and I'm going to end up just doing a drop of glue on there. Once it's all set, there's just a lip and it just kind of overhangs on there, but it doesn't sit flush. So that's something to keep in mind on there. So as you can see, we've got them pushed in, and of course this needs primer. It needs some color. This flat black is just not going to, or this black is just not going to do it. This piece back here is just going to pop in, and it's a little awkward. When I took this back apart, it was easier just to split the canopy and then do them together. So that's why it's going to look like with that pressed in there. And I have to look at my reference photos, but I would have swore that these back seats were forward more so that they could look out the windows. I could be mistaken. I don't have my booklet in front of me, but I'm pretty sure. Now here's the back panel. I did already cut these at an angle. It's going to peg in there. So there you have the whole complete with that back panel and everything on there. And if the light was hitting it like this, that would have been fine. But what you end up with is it ends up sliding in there. and you can see where these end up hitting. Now this, I needed to grab some pliers to pull this out, but the LEDs are in there. There's that little arm bracket which holds the wires and holds this into place. And there's little holes right there and right there, so that light gets directed to that spot. Another thing that the instructions showed was to take these wires and go this way and then this way. I decided not to, and I just went out both one side. It's just going to be easier and prevent any kinks, especially since I'm going to have to take this apart in the end anyway. If you get this, one of the things you want to make sure of is that panel slides right there like so. And for continuity, you are probably going to want to do a drop of glue or so forth along here once you get it all settled. Bits are a little fiddly, but it's not bad. As you can see, I actually sanded this down because there is a pretty good seam line that runs right across here and the same way on this side. You can see that right there. So that's why it's going to look like so. Your canopy is going to push on there. Now you do have the option of either the clear one or this one without the windows. Here's another problem. Look, there's a gap. There's a gap, and I can't seem to, no matter what I end up doing, it still stays there. So we're going to end up having to fidget with that. This is not as well engineered as you guys planned, Bandai. It's still an awesome kit, don't get me wrong, but all right, so let me get the rest of the bits and bobs onto this section. But before I do, so what we have here is you just want to, I'm just going to gently plug it in. I'm not going to plug it in deep because that's going to be a pain in the butt. So you switch it on. All right, so we switch it on, and so I'm going to turn down the lights. If it'll focus on it, let me get this off here. All right, if it'll stay focused on that back wall, you can see right there, the only place that you get light transference is right there. Just right there. That's, and you do get a little reflection on the others, but that was poorly designed. So what I'm going to end up doing is modifying this, and we're going to cut out that back wall. We're going to paint the front side primer in a black, and then we're just going to paint it from there, scrape off the ones that we want to be lit, and hit that with some Tamiya, whether it be yellow, green, red, some clears, and go from there. But we're just going to do a general build for right now, just so you guys can see what it looks like. Let me get the rest of the bits and bobs onto this section, and that will be it for part one. All right, boys and girls, here we are back again, and we've gotten all the little bits and bobs that were added on. So taking a look, this section over here got added on. Taking a closer look, this piece, and this piece got added on. Taking a look over here, you've got this piece, and you can see there is a gap around it, so we're going to have to clean that up and button that up. And of course, you have the gap between the canopy and here. You had this piece that got added on, and I don't have it pushed down all the way because, as you can see, I have these sections in here. Now, if you decide that you didn't want to mess with the photo etch, you can use the plastic one, which actually looks pretty good, other than these gaps, which will, I don't know if they'll be noticeable or not because I don't have them pressed in all the way. There are round pieces that the photo etch actually goes over to give this same effect. I just haven't done that yet. I'm probably going to do the photo etch probably close to last. This piece here got added on, this piece here, and again, I haven't pressed those down solid because they kind of go over this, and I don't want to mess them up when I have to pop them out to put on the photo etch. Lastly, you have this little piece here. It goes from here to here, and you do have to be cautious with this because it is thin, a little pipe, but got that sanded down and got the nub off of there. All in all, it is not bad. Of course, like I said, there's going to be some little fiddling and finagling that needs to be done to get these pieces to fit nice and snug. This is definitely going to take some work. I thought this might end up being a little bit easier than the fine molds one. It looks like it's going to be just as much work, so we'll have to see. Gotta take off some nub marks on there. All right, I hope you enjoyed part one of this build. Next up is going to be section, I think 3 and 4, which are going to be the front sections of it. So we will get to that, and I'll be posting that video up shortly. Like I said, I decided I'm not going to do a step-by-step of putting all the little bobs on there. I will show you a majority of them when it matters, but we're going to kind of get through this and then tear it back down so we can put some paint on here and fix things that Bandai should have done in the first place. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this video, you want to see more, click that subscribe button. And as usual, YouTube, peace out.